Hi everyone and welcome to Linger Longer with Books. My name's Catherine and this is my weekly vlog series. In this week's episode I thought that I would go through all of the books that I've hauled in April. I think it's like every bookworm's problem that you don't actually realise how many books you've bought until you've totted them up at the end of each month, and I was a little bit surprised, if not in denial, about how many I'd bought. But hopefully once I go through them you'll think that they are just as great and special as I do, and I got them for amazing prices. So I'm going to go through them batch by batch and tell you the bit of the story behind the purchases too. So first up, I went on to World of Books, which is a UK website for secondhand and pre-loved books, as well as new titles. I had been looking for the remaining Alison Weir titles that I was missing from her 6 Tudor Queens series, and I found the 4 in paperback that I was after, and that was number 2, Anne Boleyn, Catherine Parr, number 6. I'm going in reverse order, aren't I? Number 5, Catherine Howard, and number 4, Anne of Cleves, or Anna of Cleve, as this front cover says. And I also had been itching to get my hands on a Mandalay Press title of Appointment with Venus, so I was chuffed to get this a little bit less than full price, and it was in really good condition. So all of those in total cost me £26. So my next batch was bought thanks to me spotting a local library book sale advertised on Facebook. I know a few of us are also on Facebook as well as YouTube. So as soon as the date was advertised, I kind of penciled it down in my diary and knew that I was determined to go along just to see sort of what fiction titles they had, non-fiction and children's books. Because usually library books sold on are in pretty good condition and great prices too. So here's what I got. I got The Worst Witch to the Rescue. This is one of the stories in the Worst Witch series. I remember really being interested in the Worst Witch stories when I was a little girl. They were kind of fond and familiar, and that was made even more so thanks to there was a TV series at the time. So I was born in the 80s and grew up in the 90s, so maybe some of you out there remember that TV series too. So I got that story, I got that story as well. There were 2 in brilliant condition. They're kind of in these plastic covers, so then that set me off into wanting to get the rest in that collection. Next up, I saw a copy of Nevermore by Jessica Townsend. I've heard some really good things online about Jessica Townsend and this particular book. It features Morrigan Crow. It says that she's cursed, destined to die on her 11th birthday, but as the clock strikes midnight, she's whisked away by a remarkable man called Jupiter North and taken to the secret city of Nevermore. Now that sounds like some perfect escapism to me. So I very much look forward to reading that at some point soon. Next up, I saw in this sort of the collection of hardbacks, there was a copy of The Girl Who Died by Ragnar Jonasson. I have copies of most of Ragnar's books up till now. I haven't read all of them and not necessarily in the right order. But I thought this would be rude not to pick this one up. And it just so happens that when I got it home, I found out it was signed as well. So that is extra special, I think. It says... it's dated 3rd of July 2021 and it's signed by Ragnar, and it says welcome to the village. So I'm intrigued to know who was the original owner of this book, but that's the beauty. Sometimes you kind of buy secondhand copies and they've got lovely notes or kind of dedications in them, and yeah, that's a story in itself, isn't it? So there we go, there's that one. Going on to cookery books, I might do another vlog at some point about my favourite cookery books that I own, but as soon as I saw this I was like, oh, why haven't I owned this before? And it's Nigel Slater, The Christmas Chronicles. Again, I've seen fantastic comments about this book over the years. I'm not quite sure when it was quite published. Let's have a look. Okay, 2017, so a few years ago now, but look at the condition that it's in. It's just beautiful, and I just think that this is a really perfect seasonal read to dip in and out of. Not necessarily read it sort of cover to cover, but yeah, I'm just really looking forward to kind of with the colder days towards the end of the year, to have a look and kind of get some inspiration for some food and just being with that book. So there we go. Then I saw a copy of Autumn and Winter Veg, Cooking with a Veg Box, and this is by Riverford Organic Farmers. This really appealed to me because I'm very keen to kind of eat seasonally, especially when it comes to vegetables. And I think just our creature comforts, we go to kind of foods that suit the kind of the hotter or the colder temperatures, don't they? So I'm really looking forward to seeing what I can do, such as with raw kale, but it's beautifully illustrated with photos. It just takes you through all of those seasonal kind of ingredients and recipes and pairings. So again, I'm really looking forward to sort of saving that up until sort of September, October time. Now I can't resist children's stories, not just because I've got a niece who's nearly 4, but just something that takes me back to kind of nostalgic feelings that I have for childhood, and yeah, just reminiscing. And I think that's always quite a powerful pull with stories and books, isn't it, with all of us? So I got Paddington and the Christmas Surprise by Michael Bond, and this is a beautiful copy. It's immaculate, and I might just even read that myself and not to Imogen, who knows. So there's that one. I've got Paddington at the Circus. It's another beautiful copy, just lovely illustrations. We all know and love Paddington, especially with his marmalade sandwiches. So yeah, couldn't resist that one either. And then I've got One Snowy Night by Nick Butterworth. And again, I remember these from being a little girl, and just thought it's quite really atmospheric for winter time. And I'll be reading that in a few sort of minute slots on darker, colder days, some hopefully being snugged up with a hot cup of tea or a hot chocolate somewhere. So yeah, there's that one. And then last but not least from the library sale, I got this quite incredible book called The 50 States, and it's relating to America, and it literally takes you through state by state. It's got a lovely kind of coloured graphic, and then it's got kind of key facts. It's got well-known figures who were born in that state, and a little bit of history about them. But I just thought this is a really lovely reference book to have at whatever age that you are. It's just, I mean, it might just help you with quiz questions and answers at the very least, but just thought it's something really nice to kind of have and refer back to. I had a quick flick through all the pages the day that I bought it, and it's got endless facts and lots of things that I didn't know that hopefully my grey cells will be absorbing. So there you go. So all of those books in that particular stack cost me a total of £5.10. How amazing is that? So next up, I went through a few charity shops in Southampton, the city nearest to where I live. I do find that British Heart Foundation and Oxfam bookshops tend to have the most hidden gems in terms of books. I don't know if any of you out there feel the same way, if you live in England too. But yeah, I'll just run you through 2 mini stacks that I bought on the same day, so I'm kind of going to lump them together. The first off is a really great copy of Statues in a Garden by Isabel Holgate. And as obviously you can see from the big sticker, this cost me £2. It's not even read. I can be kind of on the fussier side of kind of books with broken spines. I really try and look out for the best condition books to buy. You out there probably all the same as well. But yeah, just craving a bit of kind of literary fiction. So this is set in 1914. It's talk of civil war in Ireland, and it looks like it follows the wife of a cabinet member, and it sounds like she will commit a betrayal that will implode all she holds most dear. So it sounds quite dramatic and intriguing. Isabel Colgate is on my radar because I also have, it's on my book trolley actually, not on my shelves because it's to be read, The Shooting Party. So yeah, I think I'm just sort of heading towards literary fiction every now and again, in between kind of contemporary fiction, children's fiction, non-fiction. I kind of like to mix my genres up as I go through the year. I haven't kind of got a set dedicated genre that I always read. You'll probably get a sense of that from my vlogs. So there's that one. Again, for £2, I picked up a copy of Sheer Folly. It's a Daisy Dalrymple mystery. I am collecting all of these titles. They are behind me. Can I point the right way? Here. Whoop, there. So yeah, I'm just chuffed when I'm seeing, again, a brilliant copy for such a low price. And hopefully I will be able to complete the collection kind of ASAP. But there we go for that one. Next up, I got Darling by India Knight, again for £2. This doesn't look like it's been read. I had seen a lot of kind of commentary about this book when it was published, but kind of it passed me by and I didn't pick a copy up. So I thought, actually, now's the time. And for one, what a beautiful cover, although we don't judge books by their covers, do we? This is very much... it sounds like it's going to be talking about the beginning of Linda's pursuit of love, a journey that will be wilder, more surprising and more complicated than she could ever have imagined. So that feels like a really absorbing, perhaps summer read. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this kind of in front of me. So there we go, there's that one. And then I popped into The Works, which again is kind of a discount stationery bookshop in England. Some of you might be familiar with, and they do quite good book deals. They do 3 for £6 on many, or I think this was £2.50 individually. I did well, I only bought the one from there, so this cost me £2.50. And this is Tangled Vines, Power, Privilege and the Murdoch Family Murders. And it's by John Glatt. And I followed a lot of the murder trial of Maggie and Paul Murdoch online as it was happening, and I'm just kind of strangely gripped by it. I've definitely got my own opinions about what happened, and I do think the outcome that was reached was the right one, let's say, without getting into kind of any conversation about it here, because it's obviously not book related, unless we're talking about this particular book. But I've not long read Mandy Matney's book about the run-up to the trial, and obviously the backstory to the Murdoch family dynasty in the Carolinas in America. So this will be the second book that I've read about the Murdochs. So I'm interested to see kind of what tidbits and what new information is in this one compared to Mandy Matney's story. Mandy is journalist and reporter and podcaster who I really admire. So I'm hoping this is the same sort of calibre of investigative journalism as hers. But I will read it and I will report back at some point. So if you're interested, keep your eyes peeled for that kind of non-fiction perspective. Then I think it was also in British Heart Foundation, I found, believe it or not, 4 more Worst Witch titles. So I've got The Worst Witch Saves the Day. I've got The Worst Witch All at Sea. Again, like, these have just been left on a bookshelf unloved, and now they're going to be loved by me. A Bad Spell for The Worst Witch. And then last but not least, I think that was obviously the first book in the series, The Worst Witch, which is purple, and that's my favourite colour, so particularly fond of that. So those 4 cost me £5. So there you go. Also, if I just forgot to say how much this mini batch cost me, it was £8.50 in total. So 222 and 250. There you go. Okay, so now it is kind of a confession time. I'm going to just reveal the most expensive book that I bought in April. and you'll totally understand why. It's just a book that I couldn't resist. It's probably one of the prettiest book covers, sprayed edges, edition. It's a special edition. It's signed and numbered. And yeah, let's see what you think. It is none other than The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden. And let's just appreciate its beauty before I go into the actual story, which sounds equally brilliant. So first off, look at the inside. It's also, as I said, it's signed and numbered. This has come from the brilliant Goldsborough Books. And here's the sprayed edges. Aren't they beautiful? Let's appreciate. So what is it all about? It is set in the midst of the First World War, hence the kind of the poppy motifs and the imagery here with the sprayed edges. And I'll just read kind of at the inside sleeve. It says, November 1917, Canadian soldier Freddie Ivan awakens after an explosion to find himself trapped under an overturned pillbox alongside an enemy soldier, a German. Against all odds, the two men form a bond and succeed in clawing their way out. But once in no man's land, they realise there is nowhere they can go where they won't be shot as deserters. As the killing continues, they meet a man, a fiddler, who seems to have the power to make the hellscape that surrounds them disappear, but at what price? Then in January 1918, Laura Ivan travels to the forbidden zone of World War I in Belgium. She has volunteered as a nurse at a private hospital, but her real reason for being there is to find her brother Freddie, who is missing. Soon after arriving, she hears whispers about ghosts moving among those still living, and a strange man known as the Fiddler, whose music offers soldiers the gift of oblivion. Could Freddie have met him too? And if so, where is he? And it's hailed as a novel, breathtaking scope and drama of stunning research, lightly worn. The Warm Hands of Ghosts is a book that will speak to readers directly about the trauma of war and the power of those involved to love, endure, and transcend it. So that, to me, just sounds incredible. Oh, I've stopped the glare. The beautiful cellophane wrapping is reflecting badly with the sun that I'm very grateful for. So yeah, First World War, Second World War have been two periods of history I've always been sort of strangely fascinated by. I did my undergrad dissertation all around the sort of male intimacy through First World War literature. So this really grabbed my attention when I saw it. And when I saw this particular edition, I returned the edition that I had already bought very recently to the bookshop, because this just far surpassed the design, and I feel like this is going to be an absolute keeper. For me, this is going to be sort of a very much late autumn, early winter read around November time. It just feels right not to read it before that. It wouldn't be a spring or a summer read. It just wouldn't feel right. So this one, with postage and packaging, cost me £35.49. Next is another batch of library book sale picks that I got from one of my local libraries called Chandler's Ford. So here we go. I'll just go through them and then again share with you the brilliant price I got them. First up is Act of Oblivion by Robert Harris. I was lucky enough to see Robert speak at Capital Crime. I think it was 2022. So this just sounds fascinating. I'm ashamed to say I haven't read any of Robert's books so far, but I remember him speaking about this and just being quite captivated by the period of history it was depicting. So if you don't know about it, I'll just read a little blurb off the back. 1660, Colonel Edward Whalley and his son-in-law, Colonel William Gough, crossed the Atlantic. Having been found guilty of high treason for the murder of Charles I, they are wanted and on the run. A reward hangs over their heads for their capture, dead or alive. I don't need to know more than that. That sounds thrilling in the best historical fiction way possible. So there's that one. Next up, non-fiction, Hungry by Grace Dent. Again, it's in this plastic cover, which really helps protect it, and it's really good condition. And this is labelled as a memoir of wanting more. I've seen quite a few of you on YouTube, like Simon Savage of Savage Reads, talk about this one, I think, if I remember rightly. And I've seen Grace kind of on TV and kind of in articles through recent years, and this has been kind of on my radar. And interested to know, because she's similar age to I am. So it really just charts how food has been a part of her life from being a little girl. It says, from an early age, Grace Dent was hungry. As a little girl growing up in Currick, Carlisle, she yearned to be something bigger, to go somewhere better. Hungry traces Grace's story from growing up eating beige food to becoming one of Britain's best loved food writers. So I'm looking forward to seeing kind of the food items and memories that she kind of picks out in particular through this. Again, like I said, similar age to Grace. I'm a little bit younger, I think, and not to rub it in, but I think some of the food I'll be able to kind of relate to and kind of understand her sort of particular takes on it. So yeah, looking forward to that one. Then I've kind of got into a habit of collecting Lonely Planet travel books. If you don't know what they are really kind of bite-sized chunks of information on a particular location. So this one, Dublin in Ireland. My twin sister Rachel, who some of you might know on Instagram as Books from My Bookshelf, she has lived in sort of the wider Dublin area for about the last 15 to 18 months now. So I do head there to every sort of 3 or 4 months currently. So it's a city that I'm getting more and more familiar with each time that I go, exploring the brilliant bookshops that they've got out there, kind of new books and secondhand bookshops as well. They will be featuring on here. So again, if you're heading to Dublin or want to know more about Dublin bookshops, you can watch my videos. But yeah, I just thought this is going to be a really nice one to add to the collection. Again, it's a fantastic copy. So yeah, it'd be really naughty. And it's even got maps in the back still. So yeah, there's that one. Then I picked up The Long Drop by Denise Miner. Now, Denise is a writer that I've been aware of through Harrogate and documentaries on TV about books, but I haven't read too many of her stories. I have read Rizzio, which is here, and that was fantastic. That was a particularly short story, like a novella type, and that was part of the Darkland series that I will be talking about in a few weeks' time, because the latest story in that series is being published quite soon. But this one is all about Mary Queen of Scots being 6 months pregnant, and yeah, the death of the murder of David Rizzio. So that I just raced through that. It's very slim, like I said. So I was just really interested to read another of Denise's books, although I appreciate this is a completely different genre. But yeah, I'll just put this one back and I'll just let you know a little bit about what this one's around. And it is, I believe it's set on a true story. 1 December night, 1957, Watts meets Manuel in a Glasgow bar to find out what he knows. Based on true events, The Long Drop is an extraordinarily unsettling, evocative and compelling novel from a writer at the height of her powers. So we follow William Watt. He's a businessman, a fool, a social climber, and we also follow Peter Manuel. He's a famous liar, a rapist, a criminal. Sounds lovely. He claims he can get hold of the gun used to murder Watt's family. So that sounds very compelling, and I'm sure that I will race through it. So yeah, those 4 titles, they were 3 for £1 and then 50p, so £3.50. And then just next door to Chelmsford Library, there's a Marie Curie cancer shop. Sells all sorts of items in support of Marie Curie, helping people with cancer. So I knew about this film. There's been quite a lot of buzz about it. And when I saw a paperback, I thought, well, instead of buying it brand new, can't really turn down a copy for 75p. And this is The Idea of You by Robin Lee. And it's currently a film. I think it's Netflix or Amazon Prime. I've got to check. It's definitely one I want to watch quite soon. I believe it is Anne Hathaway, and I can't remember the name of the young actor who's the main male protagonist in this. But this is around at 39. Solène Marchand is a devoted mother, a dedicated colleague, and a considerate ex-wife. But it's a long time since she's felt like herself. So when someone comes along who seems to see her, to want her for who she really is, the attraction is instant. And so begins a jet-setting, earth-shattering secret love affair. Again, similar age to this character. It just sounds like it's going to be completely absorbing, completely kind of, you dive in, you see where she goes. There's lots of emotions at play, and just a lovely bit of escapism. So not my usual genre of what I would read, but really happy to give it a go and see what it's like. We know it's always best to read the book before you see the film, but I don't know if that will happen timing wise, but keen to do both in whichever order is possible. So there's that one. So again, that was 75p. See all of these, if my maths is right, 3 for £1, 50 and 75p, that makes £2.25. So there you go. Not bad really, is it? We're now on to our last few book bundles from my April book haul. So again, these next 4 really wasn't my fault that I purchased them. I went to a friend's wedding anniversary party last weekend, and I had a spare hour to go out of my hotel room before the shop shut. So again, I just stumbled across a British Heart Foundation shop, and they had a great selection of books that I had a look through, and titles were literally just jumping off the shelves at me, so don't blame me. First up, I think it was the colour of the spine that first attracted me to this one, but it's called Victory in the Kitchen, The Life of Churchill's Cook by Annie Gray. Now, Annie Gray is a food writer. She's on TV for lots of kind of social history and food history documentaries. You may have seen her. I think, was it last year or the year before, I read her book At Christmas We Feast, which is charted the kind of the history of food at Christmas time through the ages, and that was really, really enjoyable. I'd highly recommend that one if you can get your hands on that one. That's called At Christmas We Feast. So when I saw this one, I don't know why I didn't look at Annie's other books for one instantly, and then I just thought, oh, what a beautiful cover and what an interesting period of history. We all know Churchill is quite famous and synonymous with his sort of cigar and how he looked clothes-wise and kind of the role he played in the Second World War. But really, we don't know much of the goings on in 10 Downing Street, almost kind of the upstairs downstairs aspects, and all of those people that were really close to Winston, supporting him, helping him get through every day, like I guess washing his clothes, cooking his food, sending letters, telegrams, whatever it might be. So yeah, these kind of back office people are really, really crucial to kind of successful living and planning and making Churchill kind of be in the places he needed to be and do what he needed to do. So I'm kind of a big champion of profiling kind of underdogs and people that are not in the sort of standard limelights. So this one, let me see. And first off, it's got beautiful inside pages. It looks like it's real, someone's real writing. So I'll just give you a little bit about this. This is the story of a woman who was not a royal, not rich, not famous, someone who simply worked hard and enjoyed her life. But while Georgina Landermere saw herself as ordinary, her accomplishments were nothing but. So it goes on to say she started her career as a nursemaid and ended at cooking for one of the best known figures in British history, Winston Churchill. To him, food was central, not only as a pleasure, but as a diplomatic tool at a time when the world was embroiled in war. So yeah, I'm sure that will be really, really kind of enlightening into, like I said, that period of history, particularly in wartime London. What were people eating? Kind of what was the process? I would think Churchill, quite demanding to cook for. I could be proven wrong, but I feel like he probably was a creature of habit, had his favourite foods, like we all do. But be interesting to see kind of what dishes they were cooking up and if any kind of still resonate with our palates today. So there's that one. Again, this spine jumped off the bookshelves. I haven't done a vlog yet, but I'm a massive Agatha Christie fan. I will be going through and sharing my kind of fiction titles and non-fiction titles around her life with you in another vlog sometime soon. But this was a book that I've never seen before from what I can remember, and it's called Stranger Than Fiction, Agatha Christie's True Crime Inspirations by Mike Holgate. And I just had to get it because I thought if I don't, I'm going to regret it. I probably won't easily see another copy again. I'm not sure when this was first published. Oh, it's an old Hampshire County Council library book. First published 2010 by the History Press, like I said, written by Mike Holgate. So this book, chapter by chapter, is going through kind of the true crime stories of the time that inspired some of Agatha's writing. So there are chapters, for example, Lord Carnarvon, The Adventure of the Egyptian Tomb, Jack the Ripper, Cat Among the Pigeons, Lady Nancy Astor, Appointment with Death, Dr. Crippen, 3-act tragedy. So yeah, I'm really, really interested to read more. And Charles Lindbergh, Murder on the Orient Express. Some of them are familiar to me. Lord Mountbatten, The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. I think he gave Agatha an idea for the plot of The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, if I remember rightly. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to probably dipping in and out of this one. I probably wouldn't read it cover to cover. There's Greenway, one of my favourite places in the world. Actually going to stay there next year for my 40th, actually in the building itself. National Trust have fantastic properties, including at Greenway. I've been lucky enough to stay at Ferry Cottage on the estate twice now, and I'm going to be staying with my family in the apartment in Greenway, so really excited about that. So there'll be a vlog on that, don't worry. So yeah, I just thought this is, again, really good condition, probably quite hard to get hold of, probably have to look online on different marketplaces to get hold of a copy. So yeah, picked that one up. Yeah, didn't want to regret not getting that one. Next up, some of you might be blown away by these copies because some of you might already own them. But Ali Azeri has done beautiful poetry anthologies in recent years, and 2 of them were on this really sort of low-hanging bookshelf in the charity shop, and I just pounced on them. First up is a poem for every day of the year. I don't think this has even been read. It doesn't look like it's been read at all, and it was just beautiful, so I picked that one up. And in the same series, I picked up a poet for every day of the year, again edited by Ali, and just beautiful to be able to refer to, dip in and out of, get inspiration from. I don't read a massive amount of poetry, but I just thought these 2 would be wonderful to have on my bookshelves. They're definitely keepers. So I'm just going to run you through exactly what these cost me. This one, £2. This one, £2. This one, £2.50. This one was the most expensive at £3.50. So all of those from British Heart Foundation, £10. Okay, so I'm now on to my very last book of my April book haul. And it's probably no surprise I was singing the praises of Annie Gray just now in terms of this book, as well as At Christmas We Feast, that I have already read. This is yet to be read. So I went down a bit of an Annie Gray rabbit hole, which she might find amusing if she ever watches this. And I immediately kind of looked online about other books that I could get hold of that she's written, especially kind of, like I said, this sort of food history and just a completely different take on history in a really engaging way. And for me, the way that she writes really brings the times to life through what people were eating, why they were eating it, not were they eating it for sustenance, were they eating it for frivolity, were they just trying to survive? And it goes from obviously quite bland foods and necessary kind of survival right the way through to rich and indulgent recipes and ingredients for the wealthy. But I managed to get a copy, again from one of my local libraries, a network of libraries in Hampshire, of one of her other books. And I don't know if this was written before or after this one, but I'll have a look in a second. It's called The Greedy Queen, Eating with Victoria. And this is all around the food that Queen Victoria ate. So it says, born in May 1819, Victoria came as plump as a partridge. In her early years, she lived on milk and bread under the Kensington system. In her old age, she suffered constant indigestion, yet continued to overeat. From intimate breakfast with the King of France to romping at tea parties with her children, and from state balls to her last sip of milk, her life is examined through what she ate, when and with whom. So I am really, really itching to get to this one and this one. These are two in this whole sort of haul that I'm really, really keen to get to ASAP. But yeah, you might spot this is a library copy. I don't own this one, but that wasn't good enough for me. Having not even read it yet, I just wanted to get my hands on my own copy. So I've gone online on an online marketplace that many of you might use for purchasing books too. And I've got a copy coming in the post, and that cost me £3.49, I think. So I will let you know when that arrives, but I am counting that in this April book haul because I have purchased it in this last few days. So when this video goes out, I think obviously I'm not going to buy any more this month. We're on the last few days of April now. I reckon, if my maths is correct, I have bought a total of 34 books this month, and I've added all of the prices up of what I've spent, and it comes to a grand total of £95.81. I won't be adding up too many of my book buys too often. This is obviously quite a bit of money, but just about 34 or 95 into 34, that's under £3 a book, is it? If my maths is right, let me know. Well, hopefully you've been kind enough to watch to the end of this vlog. Hopefully you've seen some books in here that are on your sort of radars, on your TBRs, or books that you already own and that you loved reading. Please let me know in the comments below which of these books that you've loved already, or again, similar to me, you're really keen to get to. But otherwise, leave me let's go for a crown emoji in the comments, so I know who's been kind enough to watch. But so there you go, that's my April book haul. I'm gonna go on probably a slimmer book haul in May. I've got a couple of pre-orders kind of in the pipeline, and I know that I'm attending Capital Crime towards the end of May, so I'm going to be on my very best bookish behaviour in terms of buying any books. I need to crack through a lot of these. I've got my set TBRs for the rest of this year, so some of these might be squeezed in, on audio or kind of in the formats that you see them. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support on here. If you like this video, please share it with friends and onwards. I'm also on Instagram and X, so please find me on those platforms as well. But until next week, I hope you have a fantastic week of reading and books ahead of you. But I shall say bye for now. Bye.